So make sure your feet are up underneath your knees here. You're going to sit those sit-bones evenly on the ground and use your hands to press onto your thighs to actually feel your sit bones sink into the ground. And then draw your belly button in. As you do that, lift up through your torso and move those shoulder blades together onto the back as you join the palms together at the center of the chest. And when you're here, you're going to slightly tilt the head towards the heart and close the eyes from top to bottom. And then as you do some deep breathing here, you're going to expel all the breath and then inhale. We're going to do that 3 times at your own pace. And one last cool down breath. Release. And let the palms fall down to the knees. Slowly lift the head and open the eyes. Okay, so first pose, we're going to do a couple poses in Sukhasana. So we're going to go ahead and switch out the legs. So now you're going to fold your opposite leg back in this time. Feet still up underneath the knees. And then you're going to bring the fingertips in front of you and just begin to walk the fingers forward. Walk the fingers forward until your torso is right above your shins. You can almost feel your chest on your shins. And you press your hands into the ground as you're walking your fingers forward. And keep drawing your belly button in and lifting through your torso. And then you'll find you can walk your fingers a little bit further each time you do that with the belly button. Take a deep breath here. And walk the fingertips back forward. And that's a good bed pose also. So now we're going to go ahead and revolve. So bring the left hand behind you. Right hand goes on the outside of the left knee. Draw that belly button in as you lift and turn. And look over the left shoulder. Take a deep breath here. As you release, come back to center. And let's go to the other side. So make sure you draw that belly button in. As you reach this right fingertip back behind you, bring the left hand on the opposite outside of the left knee as you draw the belly button in. Turn and lift the torso and look over your right shoulder. Take a deep breath here. And rotate back to center. Okay, and now we're just going to do some loosening poses. So just going to take the opposite edge of your head, fingertips to the ear, and just pull slightly the head to the right. And then you want to take this left hand over to the right knee. And you're going to start to lean from your side torso over to the left. And as you do that, you're going to try and pull this head a little bit tighter in. But be gentle on yourself as you release. Let it back up. And you're going to go with the other side. Bring this right hand to the outside of the left knee as you start to arc over to the right side. Bring the hand to the edge of the head, and you want to push and get a little bit of that stretch deep into your serratus right here as you come back up to center. And then the next pose we're going to get into actually we're going to do some Baddha Konasanas. So the Baddha Konasanas are a series of different poses you can do in the bed. They're also really forgiving on your shoulders and building strength as well. So in Baddha Konasana, you want to bring your feet together, palms of the feet go together, and you want to grab your shins and pull your legs in closer towards you. And when we're here, you're just gonna keep pulling your shins in closer. Just use your hands to kind of graze where you are. Draw your belly button in and lift up through your torso. And you want to try to push these knees, use the force from the edge of the knees and try to push them down towards your mat as you lift up through your torso. And take a deep breath there. And you're going to walk your hands forward now to get a little bit deeper into this stretch. And you want to kind of keep making sure you're sitting evenly on those sit bones as you walk your fingertips forward a little bit more. And you might even use your block in this pose just to have a marker to press your hands into. As you walk, you press those hands down. You draw the belly button in and lift through the torso to get that stretch, that relief in the back. Okay, and then you're going to walk the hands back up. And now I'm going to turn to my back because I want to show you another variation of this pose. So it's keeping the same stance with the soles of the feet together. I'm going to turn. And then I'm going to use this as a little space marker for my lumbar spine. So you want to give yourself about 1 palm's length distance with your block behind you. And with the feet in Supta Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Actually, let me turn to the other side. I think you might see it better that way. Soles of the feet together. Yep. Use the palms of your hands to press into the mat. And when you do that, you'll feel all the middle of your spine kind of bringing itself together. Your sit bones going down, your belly button is drawing in, and you're arcing up, you're lifting up through the torso. And as you do that, you're going to keep lifting, almost like it's like a back bend, but you're not going to bend the back. You're just going to bend the elbows as you recline yourself back. And then you're going to feel the bottom of your lumbar spine as it lays down across that block, and you just let your arms fall out to the side right here. Make sure you're pressing the soles of your feet together in this pose. And if you can, try and rotate the shoulders up underneath you. And just rest here for a second. And to come out of the pose, you're going to bring the feet flat to the ground and then turn to your right. You want to move this block out the way. And then we're going to go back into Supta Baddha Konasana, except this time you're going to completely recline back on your mat. And now, instead of just putting your feet into Supta Baddha Konasana, you're going to lift your knees, and then you're going to bring the soles of your feet together. So lift your knees, bring the soles of your feet together, and use your hands to clasp the back of your feet like so, and you're going to draw your feet in towards your torso. And you're just going to take some deep breaths in this pose. Feel your hips opening. And when you're doing this pose, you're going to have a tendency your shoulders to kind of lift up towards your ears. Move the shoulders down away from the ears as you pull your feet in closer towards your torso. Take a deep breath. Even roll back and forth if it's comfortable, side to side. And whenever you're ready to come out, bring the feet to the mat, knees up, and just turn to the side to bring yourself back up to a seated pose. And these next poses are really fun. These are my favorite for opening up your shoulders and your neck and stretching your neck into your head. So this first pose, we're going to do, actually, maybe about the fifth pose, I'm not sure. But you want to come to your hands and knees right here. And then you're going to, with the left leg, you're going to lift this leg and you're going to kind of turn it. You're going to bring it through the front of the right leg. So I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing. Okay. You want to be on the hands and the knees. And then with the left leg, bring that leg around the front of the opposite leg. And then you want to make sure you got your strap nearby. Probably should have mentioned that, the strap's nearby. And you're just going to sit back. You're going to sit back on your bottom. And your feet are going to kind of come up. Your knees are going to kind of come up in front of you. And so your right foot should be at about the base of your left hip. And your left foot should be out here, out to the side when you sit down. And you want to be sitting on the bottom. Alright? And this is open face cow pose, so you need your strap for this pose. Go ahead and take the strap, just loose open like this. Lace it over the right shoulder or the left shoulder, whichever you're going to do first. Raise the arm. You want to turn the arm in the shoulder socket. And then you want to bend that arm so you grab that strap in that left hand. And with the right hand, bring this arm out, the left hand, bring this arm out to the side. With the thumb, you want to face it down. And when you do that, bend at the elbow, then you're going to grab the strap in the opposite hand. And so with your right elbow, you want it to lift up towards the sky. And with your left elbow, you want to pull that one down towards the ground. And your sit bones are not going to be even in this pose, so just go ahead and draw the belly button in and lift up through the torso as you pull down towards the floor with that left hand against the strap. And then with the right, you want to pull up so this elbow is facing up and just look straight ahead. Take a deep breath there and release. Let both arms down. You want to extend both legs out in front of you and just switch that. You can lace that strap to the other side, but when you're here, just take a break in Dandasana and press the heels into the ground. Press the fingertips into the ground to lift up the torso. And this is just kind of like a little marker, just like a little checkpoint before we go into doing the other side for this pose. So swing those legs around to the side and come back up to the hands and knees. And this time we're going to do the opposite leg first. So right leg lifts and goes in front of the left leg. And you want to kind of, with this back leg, you want to spread it out so you don't sit on it. Kind of lift it out to the side. And just use your hands to kind of sit your butt back and just fall into your legs like that. And you're not going to be perfect in this pose. But ultimately, in the classical pose, both knees are facing forward. And so that's going to be how you know where you stand in certain poses. You look at the classical pose and you just observe where you are as opposed to that pose. And so now you're going to go ahead, just with the strap open, throw it over the opposite side, the left side. Raise that left hand up and remember to turn the arm in the shoulder socket so your arm turns right here and now your palm is facing behind you. So bend that elbow, grab the strap, right arm goes out to the side, and this arm also turns in the shoulder socket with the thumb facing down. Bend the arm and grab the strap. Oh. And just take a few deep breaths here. Observe yourself in the pose. You're not going to be sitting evenly on the sit bones, but just draw the belly button in and lift up through the torso. And I had an injured shoulder a while ago, this right shoulder. So it's been a little bit off in this pose for about a year now. But I'm slowly working it back by using the front deltoid. I try to rotate this front deltoid back. So this action right here, you want to try and rotate it. So just like the same movement of bringing your shoulder blades together onto your back, with this right shoulder, go ahead and turn it. And your elbow might come out a little bit more, but you still want to face it towards the ground and pull. And you feel that energy in between the strap with the pull up and the pull down. And you release. Let both arms down. Move the strap out the way. And extend the legs forward. And just take a deep breath right here. We're going to gather ourselves, get back in Dandasana. So bring the feet together, press the heels into the mat, and use the fingertips to press into the mat. Draw the belly button in and lift up through the torso. And as you do that, move the shoulder blades together onto the back and keep lifting. The more you press your hands into the mat, the higher your torso is going to lift. And release to come out of the pose. Now we're going to get ready to go into our next pose. What do we have? Some fun ones. Child's pose. Okay. So for child's pose today, we're going to be using some blankets. This is really comfortable. And I actually did this pose earlier in the bed. This is a really good pose to do in the bed with your pillows. Just kind of place them in front of you like this. And then you're going to go ahead and come to the hands and knees again. And this time, spread your knees apart and your feet together. And then you're just going to kind of sit in between your feet. Or, yeah, you want your sit bones, your butt bones to be right above your feet. And when you're here, bring these blankets in closer towards you. So one is right above your groin and one is going to be lying right at your forehead. And you're just going to walk your hands forward. And you're just going to lay here, turn your head to either side or both sides. And when you're here, you can either hug your pillow, clasp the hands together at the elbows, and just rest here. Or if you want it to be a little bit more of an active pose, you're going to press your hands into the ground. And then this is actually also a variation of downward dog. So if you want to get the benefits of downward dog without getting into the full pose, do this. And it's easy to do at any time during the day. Press the hands into the ground and sit your sit bones. So you want to pull with the sit bones towards the ground and press the hands into the ground. And you're just going to rest your head right here. Meanwhile, the rest of your body is still being active And with your head resting and your body being active, you can actually feel your spine stretching. It's like you kind of force your body to stretch for itself. And then when you're ready, take a few deep breaths there and walk yourself back up to seated pose. And just take your time in that pose. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for the next pose. Okay, so the next pose we're going to do is, we're going to do cobra, baby cobra, and sphinx. So let's go ahead and come to all fours. And then you're going to go ahead and just lay forward on your front. Okay. And then you're just going to start here with you're going to actually curl the toes up underneath. So actually we're going to do upward dog and then baby cobra. So you want to curl the toes underneath while you're laying on your front. And you want your hands, your palms to be about rib cage level. And I don't know if you can see how my elbows are falling all the way out to the side like that. Pull those elbows in. As you look forward, straighten the legs, draw the belly button in. And all you're going to do in this pose is straighten your arms. That's all you're going to do in this pose is straighten your arms. You're just going to take a few deep breaths right there. And bend the elbows. Come back down to the mat. And just take a few deep breaths right there. Before we go into our next pose, which is the Sphinx pose. So for the Sphinx pose, you want to bring your forearms out in front of you. You want to have your feet flat on the ground. And when you're here, press the hands into the mat. And make sure you're pressing your elbows and your forearms into the mat. Draw the belly button in, and you're going to essentially lift, but it's more like a stretch through your torso. And as you do that, you're going to kind of feel your spine come to a curvature as you're ultimately kind of trying to pull your torso through your arms. So you want to rotate these deltoids, these front deltoids back. Once again, rotate them back, draw the belly button in and lift through the torso. And this is almost like a back bend. You're taking the top of your head towards your bottom. And then you just scoot the arms out and just relax. Bring the head back down to the mat. Bring the arms out to the side, down beside you. And just take a deep breath. And then the next pose, we're going to move right back into baby cobra. So for this next pose, you want to start about ribcage level once again. And just start to straighten your arms, but with them slightly bent. And then you want to hug them in towards your side as you come back down to the mat. And you can do a bunch of these at your own pace, whatever is comfortable for you. But these are just poses you can do that's going to help you heal, your body systems to heal. And they're going to be the most low impact. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and go into upward dog. So with the palms chest level this time. A little bit higher than chest level, so you want them about sides of the breast level. Hug the elbows in, and as you curl your toes under, press into your hands and press into your feet as you straighten your arms and you lift your legs slightly up off the mat. And take a deep breath there. And now you're in upward facing dog. When you're here, make sure your feet are firmly pressing into the ground. You're lifting your legs and you're lifting up through your torso as you move these shoulder blades together onto the back. And if you're ready, go ahead and do a little arch there. Make sure to breathe as you bring yourself back down to the mat. And rest there for a second. Okay. You're going to take your palms, press into the mat, straighten the arms, and you're going to come back into what is this pose? Virasana, Supta Virasana. And just go ahead and walk yourself back up. And now we're going to get into our next poses, which I believe are some standing poses. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so first we're going to do some standing poses. We're going to go ahead and get ready to go into these. And these are also great poses for all that we're handling today. Head, neck, and shoulders, and menstrual cycle. So, okay. You want to get your strap nearby. We're going to go ahead and go into a yogi squat. Okay. So you want to start here with the feet about hip width apart. Okay. Actually, in this pose, you want to bring the feet to the edges of the mat, but you want to bring them to the hollow edges, not the wide one, the hollow edges. So when you're here, go ahead and draw the belly button in, and you feel your tailbone go down towards the ground. Bring the palms together at the center of the chest, and then you're just going to bend at the knees, and you're going to come into a full yogi squat, bringing the elbows on the front of the knees. And if it's more comfortable in this pose for you to use the wall, go ahead and do that. And I might even use the wall because I want to kind of go and do the revolve version of this, which is bringing, you can keep your palms together at the center of your chest, and you just slightly do a turn by bringing the elbow closer in towards the groin and rotating the right shoulder up. And then you're going to come back to center, and you're going to do that again with the opposite hand. So with the right elbow towards the right groin, rotate the torso so your left shoulder is facing, reaching up towards the sky, and turn your head to look over your left shoulder. Take a deep breath there, and come back to center. So ultimately in this pose, if you see, I'm kind of facing a little at a diagonal. In this pose, the classical pose, your spine is going straight up. So that's why people use the wall in this pose. And I'm going to show you the difference in when I just do it naturally and when I just use the wall. Okay, so you're going to go ahead and just kind of use your butt to be right against the wall as you go down. And you just slowly work your spine to be right facing up in a yogi squat pose. And there you go. And so now we're going to come to our next pose, which is a form of that, but we're going to kind of go slow with this, because it's actually been a while since I've done this pose. But it was one of the more challenging ones for me. So we're going to challenge ourselves today to heal Okay, so let's get ready. You want to start in this pose. You definitely want to use the wall. So with the feet about hip width apart in this one, you want to go ahead and bend the knees ahead of time. And then you want to kind of get your placement against the wall. So you want to have your knees about a 90-degree angle away from the wall when you bend your knees. You want them about hip width apart. And as you slightly bend your knees, go ahead and use your strap to lasso around the ball of your foot. And as you do that, you're going to go ahead and stretch the foot forward and just come to a seated position. You're going to fall in this pose. That's a given. But you kind of want to stretch this leg out in front of you with the other leg bent. So it's kind of like a yogi squat. So you're training yourself to be able to do these poses in a classical way by just showing your body what it feels like, even though the actual classical pose is quite difficult. Press the palm of the foot, the ball of the foot into the strap, and pull with the shoulders. And then to release, let that strap go. And then we're going to start all over again with the other side. Okay. So you might even want to make sure you got a little padding for when you fall, when your butt falls to the ground, so you don't hurt yourself there. And I got carpet, so for me it's not bad. So maybe a little blanket or something rolled up to kind of catch you. So once again, we're going to start here with our butts against the wall. You want to make sure you're at an angle, feet about hip width apart, and you're going to start to bend the knees. As you do that, lasso the left foot with the ball of the foot pressing into the strap. And then as you do that, slightly bend that leg again and press the foot into the strap. Before you go down, make sure to draw the shoulder blades in and just bend the knee. Bend, bend, bend. Oh! Okay. Then you're just going to fall right there down to the ground. Your sit bones are going to be sitting on the ground. And you're going to press the ball of the foot into the strap. As you draw the shoulder blades back, keep lifting through the torso. Take a deep breath here. And lift the foot down. Move the strap out of the way. And release that other foot back down. And just to get another checkpoint going, let's come to Dandasana. So these checkpoints help to rearrange your body and let you know you're doing good. You're doing pretty good and you're going to be okay. So bring the feet together with the heels touching, the big toes touching, and press the heels into the ground. And you want to feel the back of your legs also pressing into the ground. And that's automatically going to give you a lift through your torso. Use your fingertips to press into the ground and lift that torso even more. Take a deep breath. And as you draw this belly button in towards the back, lift more. And your fingertips might go flat on the ground. But ultimately you want to have straight arms in this pose. Press the hands into the ground. Draw the belly button in and lift up. Shoulder blades touch onto the back. And release. Okay, now we're going to get into our standing poses, which are also good. Good poses for just keeping your blood flow good, keeping your energy balance, keeping balanced emotions, and just having a general wellness So let's go ahead and start with actually Warrior 2. No, actually we're going to start with Utthita Trikonasana just because that's really good for opening up the hips. So you want to start with the feet together in Tadasana. Press well into the feet. And then just reach down through the fingertips. Draw the belly button in towards the back. Lift up through the torso. Bring the fingertips together as you bend the knees. And step or jump the feet wide apart. You want to turn this left foot in. I'm sorry, that is the right foot. I always do that. You want to turn the right foot in. You want to turn this left foot forward. As you draw up through the belly button, I have a tendency to lean forward in this pose, so draw up through the belly button and go ahead and take that left arm down to the ground in front of the left foot and use your fingertips. And if you're using your fingertips, that's good. That means that you're getting better into the pose. You're getting more range of motion. You're healing. So press the outer edge of the foot into the ground, the back foot. Then you want to press that front big toe mound into the ground. And now go ahead and bring your left hand to your shin and draw the belly button in and lift up through the torso. And go ahead and extend that left arm up, that right arm up. Inhale. Turn the head to look up. Inhale, pull with the right arm. And come back to center. Now we're going to go to the other side. And in between time, I kind of like to just bring the hands to the hips because it just kind of gives you a little bit of a break. So you turn that right foot in. I'm sorry, you turn the left foot in. And you turn the right foot forward. So this left foot is at an angle and the right foot is facing forward. So go ahead, make sure you're pressing well into your feet and take that right arm down. Fingertips to the ground. And just to rearrange yourself in the pose, go ahead and bring the hand to the hip. The left hand. Bring the left hand to the hip. And press into the outer edge of the left foot. You're going to feel the muscles in the outer edge of this left leg as you press into this front big toe mound. See, that naturally lifted me up. Press into that front big toe mound and use the right hand to clasp at the shin. Draw the belly button in and lift through the torso. And remember to breathe as you extend this left arm back up. Turn the head to look up towards the left arm and pull. Pull with those fingertips up towards the sky. Inhale and pull with the left arm and come back up to center. And then you're going to bend the knees and step the feet back together. Next pose we're going to do is the Warrior 2. Yes, the Warrior 2. So we're going to go ahead, start in Tadasana. Bend the legs, fingertips in toward the chest. And step or jump the feet wide apart. Making sure that our front foot is in line with the instep of the back foot. Turn that back foot in, front foot faces forward. And make sure you're lifting up through your torso. And just to make sure you're facing forward, draw the belly button in and lift through the torso. And reach these right fingertips towards the right. And reach these left fingertips toward the left. And go ahead and bend into that left leg at 90 degrees. Keeping the arms level. Go ahead and just turn the head to look over the right arm. Take a deep breath here. right arm to come back up and then turn to center. And then I'm going to bring my hands to my hips just for that in-between time as I turn this back foot forward and this front foot also forward. So I turn the back foot at an angle, front foot goes forward. And you want to still face your torso forward instead of having a tendency to rotate towards whatever direction your foot's going. Keep the torso forward. Extend the arms out to the side and bend into the leg at a right 90-degree angle. Right angle, 90-degree angle. And when you're here, feel yourself press into the outer edge of that back foot as you embrace this outer edge of the leg muscle. Draw the belly button in so you're not pooching forward. Draw it in. Lift up through the torso. Make sure your torso is facing forward and bend into that leg at a little bit more of a right angle. And inhale. Pull the left arm to come back to center. And step or jump the feet back together to Tadasana. Next pose, we're going to go ahead and get into our last standing pose, which is Parsva Konasana. So from Tadasana, we always do all our standing poses from. Bend the knees, fingertips in towards the chest, and step the feet apart. Bring the hands to the hips as you turn this back foot in. Front foot faces forward. Go ahead and we're going to do one that we did last week. Rotate the torso over to the left. And this is a really fun pose. If you're up for it, you can do the hand mudra, which is bring the arms out to the side, and you want to kind of get some momentum as you swing them back behind you into Anjali Mudra, which is actually, let me turn to the other side so you can see. Anjali Mudra. And then you're going to start to extend forward and take the crown of the head towards the foot. Bringing the shoulder blades back. And if you're not ready for that, just go ahead and bring the hands on either side of the leg. And as you're here, make sure you're pressing into that outer edge of the back foot and pressing into the front big toe mound. And as you brace yourself up through your legs, bring the elbows out to the side and try and take the crown of your head to your shin. Now, it might not go all the way there, but it's the principle, you know. If you get somewhere in the vicinity of actually doing the classical pose, you're still going to get all the benefits. So go ahead, bring the hands to the hips, and come up with the torso first. And so we're going to go ahead and do the other side. Okay. So using the Anjali Mudra, okay, which is also really fun to try and practice getting into. Bring the arms up, and you want to swing them. You swing them into momentum, so you kind of, and as you do that, you get a little bit more room. Some kind of magical, mystical way. I don't know how, but somebody taught me how to do it. So bring those palms together behind you as you extend forward, bringing the head towards the shin. Making sure to keep pressing the palms together as you rotate those shoulders back. If you're ready, go ahead and bring the hands on either sides of the foot and extend that torso over the left leg. Bend the elbows out to the side and reach the crown of the head towards the top of the foot. And you're going to feel this stretch right up in here, really nice. Straighten the arms. Inhale, hands on the hips, and Lift up. Remember to lift up with the torso first. Coming up always with the torso first in these standing poses. And then come back to center. Okay. Alright. So next we are going to do some more recline poses, which are just great for being awesome, being happy and feeling good. It doesn't matter what you're doing if you're relaxing. There's always a pose you can get into. Pavanmuktasana. So you're going to come to a recline position on your mat. Okay. And I'm going to throw these blankies out the way, because those are in my way. So when you're here, go ahead and recline back. Bring the feet up off the mat. And grab both shins in either hands together. So you want to either use opposite the corresponding hand on each leg, like so, or either clasp the hands together through the fingers and then bring them around the shins or the knees, whichever is more comfortable for you. But when you're here, everything is going to relax. Everything, including your bottom, your torso, and your feet, your legs, is going to actually relax. And the only active part of you is your hands, your forearms actually, because you're going to use your forearms to kind of pull in towards your chest as you rotate back and forth. And remember to breathe in this pose. Inhale deeply as you rock back and forth. This is also called the wind relieving pose. So if you have any unruly gas or any unruly bubbles or anything like that, go ahead and just get in this pose and you'll feel the air in your body start to release. So now I'm grabbing one leg in both hands and I'm going to extend my left leg down. But I'm going to straighten this left leg and try to bring it flat to the ground as I do the same thing with this opposite leg I just did in the first pose, which is just let the foot relax and bring the leg in towards the chest. Take some deep breaths here. Just appreciate life. So good to be alive. So good to be happy, healthy, and feel good. So now we're going to go ahead and get that other leg. As we extend the right leg down, you want to pin that leg to the ground. Make sure it's flat on the ground. And when you're there, try to keep that leg straight on the ground as you pull the leg in towards the chest. Make sure to relax the foot. I was just flexing my foot, but just relax it. Okay. And just pull it in towards the chest with both hands. And you can just kind of rotate it around just to feel yourself in all these different muscles. Okay. And then you're just going to let that foot back down whenever you're ready. And then you're going to turn to the side. Always use your left hand and press into the ground. Bring yourself back up to a seated position. And then next pose we're going to do is, we do the yogi squat. Yeah. So we're going to do, bridge pose, and we're going to do the one hand, one foot pose. Okay. So let's go ahead and get ready for bridge pose. So with this pose, we're actually going to call it build a bridge pose, because we're going to build a bridge. We're not just going to, walk across a bridge, not build yet. So what I mean by build a bridge is we're going to build ourselves up to bridge pose, which is by kind of going by step. So you're gonna use your block for this pose. First, we're gonna start out in the lowest height. Then we're gonna move up to the second height. And if you're game, we might even move up to this height, which is for intermediates, but we're gonna try it just so you can have it in your data bank whenever you're ready to get to that point. Okay, so what we say, we're gonna start on the lowest height first. Okay, and for that you want to have your knees bent. Okay, and you want to slightly kind of bend your torso back and have your block behind you so you can feel where your torso is going to, where your spine is going to fall onto the block. And so you want to lay your block long ways. So you want to have it on the shortest height, and you want to lay it long ways. Okay. And you want to have it right at about where your hips are. Your waist. So right at about where your waistline is. In the back is where the edge of the block should go. So the tops of your shoulders will come off the edge of the block. And when you're here, just take a few deep breaths. Make sure you rotate this right shoulder back, rotate the left shoulder back, and keep the knees bent. And just let the hands fall out to the side, palms fall out to the side. Take a few deep breaths here. Turn to the right and move the block out of the way. And you're going to come back into that same reclined pose, because now we're going to go back into Supta, the bridge pose. So go ahead and with the knees bent and the feet flat on the ground, make sure you can extend your arms down beside you. And try and touch kind of barely graze the edge of your ankles, your heels. And if you can do that, then that's good. You want to kind of scoot those feet in closer towards your pelvis onto your mat, and that's going to give you a stronger grip, because you're going to press your feet into the mat as you lift your hips slightly. So as you lift your hips slightly off the ground, we're going to go into using our second height, which is here. So remember, the first height was horizontal. Second height is going to be vertical, but not completely vertical. This is the second height. And so this part of your block should be where your tailbone is. And this part of your block should be where your lumbar spine is. So go ahead and press the feet as you're lifting the hips. Slide that block up underneath you. And if you have to kind of lift your tippy toes to get that block up underneath you, go ahead and do that. And if so, I don't think we're going to go into the last height, but I will show you how, just because that one's for intermediates, and it could be difficult. So just go ahead and grab the edges of your mat, and then rotate the right shoulder up underneath you. Rotate the left shoulder up underneath you. And when you're here, it's going to kind of feel like your chest isn't doing anything. But you want to lift through your torso, and you want to lift your chest up. Almost like you're going to lift your chest towards the wall or towards your head. And you're just going to take a few deep breaths here. This is really good for opening the torso, the chest, the heart. And just take some deep breaths right and press into the feet. 2, slightly lift the hips again. And remove your block as you slowly let your hips down to the ground. And you're going to move that block out to the side. You're just going to take a rest here for 2 seconds. Take a few deep breaths. And so now, like I promised, we're going to go ahead and do the last variation of this pose. So we started on this height, we moved to this height, now we're going to this height. And so now, if you want to get into that pose, go ahead and you're going to have to use your hands to pull your feet in closer towards your hips. So kind of like so. Grab that foot, pull it closer in towards the pelvis. And on the same side, grab that foot, and when you bring it back down, put it closer in towards the pelvis. And you notice that your feet are up on top of their tippy toes now. So when you do that, make sure you press well into those tippy toes, because you're going to keep bringing those hips up. And when you do that, you're going to walk these shoulders up underneath you. Walk these shoulders up underneath you. As you press your feet, you keep lifting your hips up, and you get that space up underneath you to go ahead and slide that block up underneath. See, this is somewhat difficult if you're not ready for this pose, but when you're here, go ahead and bring your feet flat to the ground. Okay? And then it's going to also, once again, start to feel like your chest is sinking in towards you. Rotate the right shoulder up underneath you. Rotate the left shoulder up underneath you. Take a deep breath. And as you inhale, lift through your torso, extending your chest towards the wall in front of your head. Grab the edges of your mat so you can better rotate those shoulders back, and lift through the torso. And you feel this movement right here up in the hips that's helping to balance out any curvature or anything like that in the uterus area. Balances out any menstrual issues. Okay, and then you want to go ahead and press into the feet to kind of walk those feet back up to tippy toes, and then press the feet into the ground to lift up a little bit more as you remove the block, and slowly let the hips back